Little darling here in the PFL.
Is that a Celsius chain she's got? Wow.
Both sporting the cowboy hats. Welcome to Nashville.
Parlay, and also we threw a little sprinkle on by TKO or KO. I will tell you, the confidence that she's going to have now getting up is going to be unbelievable.
And there it is.
Beautiful knee from the plum.
And Gina beckons Gina Bishop back to her feet and goes immediately on the attack.
Bishop in trouble.
And that does it. First round finish, and Dakota Ditcheva silences the...
American fighter Gina Bishop sent a massive bombshell message to Dakota Ditcheva, declaring, "I am ready to fight whenever. I want to stay busy, and I don't care who they put in front of me, so I'll take what I can get."
I am ready to fight whenever. I want to stay busy, and I don't care who they put in front of me, so I'll take what I can get.
Bold words, confident words. But did she know what was coming? Because Dakota Ditcheva fired back with a chilling response. "Yeah, no, I just ended up on the ground, and we've been working all that systems on the floor. Me and one of my coaches. So yeah, I feel like I was just really comfortable there, and happy to stay there, and it worked out that, the submission came, and I took it straight away."
Yeah, no, I just ended up on the ground, and we've been working all that systems on the floor, me and Aaron Aby, one of my coaches, so yeah, I feel like I was just really comfortable there and happy to stay there, and it worked out that, the submission came and I took it straight away.
And then, Dakota took to Twitter with a message that sent shockwaves through the MMA community. This is the story of how confidence met reality inside the cage. Let's rewind to Friday, August 2nd, 2024. The stage was set. The PFL Women's Flyweight semifinal. Dakota Ditcheva, the undefeated rising star with devastating striking power, versus Gina Bishop, a proven ground specialist who came in talking a big game. Bishop didn't just accept this fight, she called for it. She wanted to be the one to end Dakota's hype train. She wanted to prove that all the talk, all the highlights, all the knockouts meant nothing against a true grappler. As the opening bell rang, both fighters moved to the center of the cage. Dakota immediately began establishing her striking range, using her long jab and crisp footwork to stay on the outside. This was her world.
We had Dakota in the parlay, and also we threw a little sprinkle on by TKO or KO. I will tell you, the confidence that she's going to have now getting up is going to be unbelievable.
And there it is.
Beautiful knee from the plum.
And Gina beckons Gina Bishop back to her feet and goes immediately on the attack.
Bishop in trouble.
And that does it. First round finish, and Dakota Ditcheva silences the doubters.
But Bishop, she stayed composed, patient, hunting for that opening. About a minute into the round, Bishop saw her chance. She slipped under one of Dakota's punches and drove in for a takedown. With solid technique and perfect timing, she got Dakota to the ground. For a brief moment, the momentum swung. The crowd gasped. Was Bishop's game plan working? Was this the beginning of the end for Dakota's hype?
Here's Dakota Ditcheva.
So here you see Ditcheva hunting. There's a big knee right up the middle into the knee, and then the second one right on the chin.
Dakota Ditcheva wasn't interested in staying on that mat for even a second longer than necessary. With impressive composure and elite athleticism, she quickly scrambled back to her feet before Bishop could settle into a dominant position. And here's where you could see the difference between a good fighter and a great one. Dakota learned from that moment. Instantly, she reset, refocused, and came back sharper. She started pressuring Bishop with combinations, more aggressive movement, refusing to let her opponent get close enough to repeat that takedown. Bishop had shown her best card, and Dakota had already adapted. Then came the moment that would define the entire fight. Dakota timed Bishop's forward movement perfectly. As Bishop stepped in, looking for another opportunity, Dakota launched a devastating knee straight up the middle.
Plum and a right hand.
Oh,
another one.
big one.
Dakota Ditcheva, right hand and a hand of fake. Another knockout for Dakota Ditcheva.
It landed clean, crashing into Bishop's body and immediately sending her crumbling to the canvas. The crowd erupted. The American fighter who came in talking about ending hype was now hurt, on the mat, in serious trouble. And Dakota, she didn't hesitate for even a fraction of a second. She swarmed in with pinpoint ground and pound, unleashing a series of strikes as Bishop desperately tried to cover up. The referee hovered nearby, watching closely as the damage mounted. Despite Bishop's best efforts to defend, the shots were too clean, too fast, too precise. After several unanswered punches, the referee had seen enough. 3 minutes and 54 seconds of the very first round. Gina Bishop, who came in predicting a knockout victory, was knocked out herself in devastating fashion.
Sprinkle by TKO or KO. I will tell you, the confidence that she's going to have now getting up is going to be unbelievable.
This wasn't just a win, this was a statement. Dakota Ditcheva had just dismantled a proven ground specialist in front of the whole of America. She had defended the takedown, stayed calm under pressure, and finished the fight with surgical precision. As the crowd cheered and Dakota had her hand raised, her expression showed a mix of intensity and satisfaction. She had passed another test, she had silenced another doubter, and she had done it in the most decisive fashion possible.
First round finish, and Dakota Ditcheva silences the doubters.
But here's what makes this victory even more significant. With this win, Dakota punched her ticket to the PFL Women's Flyweight Final, where she would go on to face former UFC title contender Taila Santos. The matchup fans were dreaming of. Two elite fighters with real knockout power and championship potential. But on this night, the spotlight belonged entirely to Dakota Ditcheva. In less than 4 minutes, she turned what was expected to be a competitive semi-final into another dominant chapter in her undefeated run. So why does this fight matter so much in the bigger picture? Because it exposed something we see time and time again in combat sports. Confidence without preparation means nothing inside the cage. Gina Bishop came in with all the talk, all the predictions, all the confidence in the world. She truly believed she would be the one to end Dakota's rise. But belief isn't enough. Talk isn't enough. You need skill. You need adaptability. You need that champion's mentality that allows you to adjust mid-fight, learn from every exchange, and capitalize on every opportunity. Dakota showed all of that in just under 4 minutes. She showed she could defend takedowns from an elite grappler. She showed she could get back to her feet when taken down. She showed she could find the finish when the moment presented itself. And most importantly, she showed that the hype around her name isn't just hype, it's reality backed by performance. This is what separates the contenders from the pretenders. This is what separates those who talk about being great from those who actually are great, fighting in front of the whole of America, under pressure, under bright lights, with someone gunning to take everything from you. Dakota stayed calm, sharp, ruthless, from start to finish. Let's put this in perspective. This fight on August 2nd, 2024 wasn't just another victory on Dakota's record. It was proof that she belongs at the very top of this sport. Every fight she faces a new challenge. Every fight someone claims they'll be the one to expose her. Every fight Dakota proves them wrong. Her debut against Nascimento, second round TKO after absorbing early pressure and showing incredible versatility. Her semi-final against Bishop, first round finish after defending the takedown and landing that picture-perfect knee. The pattern is clear. Dakota doesn't just win, she dominates. And here's what should terrify the rest of the division. She's still improving. I'm still learning. Still adding new weapons to her arsenal. That comfort on the ground she mentioned? That's new. That takedown defense? That's evolved. It's 3 minutes and 54 seconds of pure dominance. This has been your breakdown of Dakota Ditcheva versus Gina Bishop. A reminder that in this sport, hype isn't built on words, interviews, or predictions. It's built on performance. And once again, Dakota delivered when it mattered most. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another explosive fight story, analysis, and unforgettable moments from the world of combat sports. Until next time, stay ready, stay humble, and keep watching greatness unfold.
We're thinking about coming back. I remember there was that conversation with you. There was a potential comeback fight with Ronda.
Yeah.
How serious was that?
It was very serious.
What stopped it from happening?
So, you know how, like, I went,
Yeah.
I'm living in LA.
The Ronda Rousey one didn't really bother me.
He's not an expert. He's a fan with an audience.
I know what that is. She's a legend. I mean, I got nothing but love and respect for that lady. When she said, like, I wasn't an expert, everyone's entitled to their opinion, you know, but you got to understand why she thinks like that. Because she has a champion mentality. You never fought, you ain't shit. You know, it's real simple.
That's why those football guys always do that. You didn't play? You're like, yeah, but I studied the sport.
Doesn't matter. You ain't shit. I get it. It's totally fine. I was a huge supporter and still am.
Joe Rogan was left completely stunned. After witnessing Ronda Rousey's intense next-level training sessions, even the veteran commentator couldn't hide his shock. The speed, the power, the aggression. It wasn't just a comeback, it was a statement. Rousey looks sharper, stronger, and more dangerous than ever before. As she prepares for a massive showdown with Gina Carano, Joe Rogan doesn't hold back his reaction. Watching Ronda dominate in training camp, he issued a serious warning. This isn't the same Ronda from the past. This is a rebuilt, refocused warrior with something to prove. If Gina Carano thinks she's stepping in with the old version of Rousey, she might be in for the biggest surprise of her career. The fight hasn't even started, but the message is already loud and clear. This is happening.
Oh, I miss gripping.
Awesome. Yeah. And then double.
Let's start with Joe Rogan, because when Joe Rogan talks MMA, people listen. On a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Rogan sat down with Gina Carano and revisited one of the most famous what-if fights in combat sports history, Carano versus Rousey. Rogan recalled how serious the talks were years ago, and how close it came to actually happening.
Ronda's a friend of mine. And Ronda, when she got fucked up by Holly, I commentated that fight just like I would people I don't even know.
You're doing your job.
But I do know her, you know, and I like her a lot. And when she got head kicked, I was like, ooh.
Carano opened up about why it fell apart back then. She said Dana White approached her with a serious offer, $1 million fight with Ronda, but the timing was just wrong. She didn't have a team. She didn't have a gym. She asked Dana to keep things quiet for 6 months while she got organized, and instead he went public almost immediately. Rogan's warning to Carano? Simple. This is your last call. Ronda Rousey is not just coming back for fun. She's been training in secret for over a year. She is prepared. And Gina, you need to be too. Carano's response, though, was electric. She said, and we're paraphrasing, "You never lose that want. It never goes away." She's ready. And now so is the world.
My dreams in movie making, but I guess you just never lose that want to do it.
Right.
And for me, I've been looking for something to train for to get my body back and where I want it to be. And so there's just been this little thing on my shoulders like, well, you could train and you could get.
And just hours after the fight announcement dropped on February 17th, Gina Carano took to social media, and the post went viral almost instantly. Carano wrote, and this is the message that sent MMA fans into a frenzy. "I've been waiting my whole career for this. The cage is calling. Let's finish what was supposed to happen. May 16th. See you there, Ronda."
Right.
I mean, I think when you fight, you are constantly fighting. I have a bag in my, downstairs in my garage. Like I'm on the treadmill and constantly fighting people in my head and having a comeback fight all the time.
How old are you now?
I'm 40.
Short, direct, cold-blooded. Fans flooded the comments. Former fighters reacted. Clips from both women's careers started trending worldwide. The hashtag Rousey versus Carano was #1 within hours. The fight that the MMA world has been asking for since 2009 is finally here. Now let's talk about Ronda Rousey, because her comeback story is unlike anything we've seen in combat sports. Rousey told Jim Rome that this entire idea started when she was 9 months pregnant. She saw an interview of Gina Carano. Carano wasn't in a good place, and Rousey's first thought was, what can I do to help?
Well, I reached out to her through Dana. So I asked Dana if he would be interested, and he was like, of course I'd be interested. And he sent me this voice memo where I can tell when he's super excited about something because he's stutters, and he was stuttering all over the voice memo. I'm like, oh, he's down. And so he reached out to Gina, and she said that, that she'd already lost 25 pounds. And this was that walk back into the cage again is something that she's always wanted to do. And, so that's when the talk started happening and got that interest from her. Well, literally, because I was 9 months pregnant at the time, and she had a long way to go. So I was like, come on, girl, let's get back into it together.
She said she owes Gina Carano everything. Carano was the one who put the idea in her mind that she could be an MMA fighter. So when she saw Carano struggling, she reached out through Dana White, and the conversation began. They have been training in secret for over a year. 1 year. While Rousey was recovering from pregnancy, while Carano was getting back into shape, both women were quietly preparing for this moment. Rousey says her focus in this camp has been different from anything before. No high anxiety, no desperation. She describes it as healing, joy, rediscovering her love for the sport. And at 39 years old, she says her technique has never been sharper. Recovery takes longer, sure, but knowledge is on her side. Now we have to talk about something very important and very personal that Rousey revealed publicly for the first time. For years, Rousey suffered from neurological symptoms she couldn't explain. Lighter and lighter hits were giving her concussion-like episodes. She was losing chunks of her vision. Her depth perception was failing her mid-fight. This was a major reason her career ended. When she approached Dana White about coming back, his first question was, "Are you okay?" He sent her to the Cleveland Clinic, one of the top neurological research centers in the world, where she underwent every test available. The diagnosis? Not CTE, not what she feared. Doctors believe she was experiencing something called migraine aura, specifically a phenomenon known as cortical spreading depression, where neurons become overexcited and shut down in a wave, causing temporary vision loss. Her family history of migraines and epilepsy made her significantly more susceptible. Her brain scans? Normal. Rousey described the moment she heard that as life-changing. In her own words, "I'm not dying. CTE isn't coming to get me." Even better, doctors found a preventative migraine medication she can now take before training and competition. She says the results have been remarkable. Both Rousey and Carano are currently undergoing extensive neurological testing required by the California State Athletic Commission ahead of their May 16th bout. Now, why isn't this fight happening in the UFC? Rousey says she went to Dana White first, and White was excited. He offered her a deal that would have paid her more per pay-per-view buy than anyone in UFC history. If she hit her historic numbers, she would have made as much in this one fight as she made in her entire career. But here's the problem. The UFC just signed a massive $7.7 billion deal with Paramount Plus, and that deal eliminated the pay-per-view model entirely. No more PPV buys. No more bonus per sale. When Rousey asked for that same money guaranteed, the UFC said no, and she says she understands why. Once they pay her that, they have to pay everyone else more. The precedent is too expensive. Her take? The UFC no longer cares about putting on the best fights possible. They care about the most cost-effective fights possible. Dana White confirmed the two sides had been in talks, said it just didn't work out, and wished both women well. The door closed at the UFC, and Jake Paul's most valuable promotions walked right through it, landing one of the biggest fights in women's MMA history for Netflix. So here's where we stand. May 16th. Intuit Dome, Inglewood, California. Streaming live and exclusively on Netflix. Ronda Rousey, 12 wins, 9 by submission. The most dominant women's MMA fighter of all time steps back into the cage for the first time in nearly a decade. Across from her, Gina Carano, 7 wins, the original face of women's combat sports, returning after 17 years away. This isn't just a fight, this is history. This is the fight that almost happened in 2009. The fight that almost happened in 2014. The fight the MMA world has been asking about for 20 years. Now it's real. Stay locked in right here for all the latest news, training updates, and fight week coverage. We'll see you on May 16th.
I think look, I like that fight. I'd like to try to make that fight happen. I think there's a natural order to get to that fight, though. I mean, I'd like to see Chris Cyborg fight this summer, and there's somebody else other than Dakota. So I'm going to work to try to make that fight, and maybe that's at the same time that Dakota is fighting these other people that I mentioned, and if Dakota wins, it becomes champion. I think, fight with Chris Cyborg would be incredibly exciting. We'll see what happens, but I'd like to try to make that fight.
I can go weight cut, meeting in the middle with Dakota. She's beating everybody her division.
If Cyborg could make 135 and they give me a bit of time, she had a bit more time, she's saying it's a last fight. Like, I haven't got time to put that much weight on. I'm not a big 125er. I don't have a tough weight cut at all. So for me, I'd have to strength up big, but I would have done it if she was even close to 135 and, you pay me some big money and I'll get in. But it just didn't make any sense at all. And Leah McCourt's been asking for it for so long. Why are you shouting me out? Leah wants that fight. Give it to her.
PFL CEO John Martin just dropped a major statement about Dakota Ditcheva versus Chris Cyborg, and the CEO did not hold back. He said, and I quote, "I'd like to try to make that fight happen."
I like that fight. I think that's the next logical fight. We haven't made that yet. We haven't announced it yet. But I think if you look at...
And then he went even further than that. We are breaking it all down today. The injury update, the timeline, the contract talk, and a tweet from Dakota herself that has the MMA world going crazy right now. Let's get into it. So here's where we are. Dakota Ditcheva came into 2026 as arguably the biggest star on the PFL roster outside of Usman Nurmagomedov. She was booked. She was ready. She was supposed to fight Denise Kielholtz at PFL Dubai, the promotion's very first event of the new era. And then, a hand injury. Gone. Off the card. That was a massive blow for the PFL's debut event.
Pushing it off and enjoying other things. And I'm so grateful for everything I've had out of it. But at the same time, I don't get paid. I will come back from this.
But here's the good news. John Martin spoke to MMA Fighting and he confirmed that Dakota is healing well. His exact words? She's healing well. I expect that she'll be fighting this summer. I want to make sure it heals well, but she's healing well.
Yeah, I'd like to see Dakota firmly heal, and then we'll see what happens from there. But I'd like to see Dakota fighting this summer, and we'll see. Maybe we can put together a different fight for Cyborg this summer as well.
So summer 2026, that's the target. That's the return window. And now the biggie question becomes, who does she fight? Now Martin laid out a few options on the table here. Option 1, Denise Kielholtz. Martin said he still likes that fight. Kielholtz stayed on the Dubai card and picked up a decision win. So the momentum is there. Nothing has been officially rebooked yet, but the PFL CEO made it clear that the fight still interests him.
Ooh, man, something tells me it's going to be a good year for MMA next year, 2026. So, February 7, 2026, we are going to have Dakota Ditcheva versus Denise Kielholtz. Now, I know Dakota's been out for months due to an injury. Denise Kielholtz has been out for 2 years because she just had a baby, but this fight is going to be ugly. It's going to be nasty. Stay tuned.
Option 2, Liz Carmouche. Martin mentioned Carmouche by name and said she has to be part of the title conversation. Liz is a veteran, former UFC title challenger, decorated fighter. That would be a legitimate #1 contender type matchup for Dakota's return.
I still like and think could make sense. There's Liz Carmouche, who definitely has to be in title consideration right now. It's a vacant title in that weight class. And so that's something that deserves consideration.
Option 3, and this is the one everybody wants, Chris Cyborg. Now here's where it gets real interesting. Cast your mind back to December. Chris Cyborg wins the PFL featherweight title at 145 pounds. She walks out of that cage. Martin goes in to put the belt around her. And the first thing out of Cyborg's mouth? I want to fight Dakota.
The Bellator, but if she not be available, I can go make some weight cut, something, meeting in the middle with Dakota. She's beating everybody her division, 135, or we think about what we're going to do, but I believe it's going to be good.
She already had a plan. She told Martin right there in the cage she would come down to 135. Dakota would go up to 135. They meet in the middle. Now obviously there is a size difference here. Dakota fights at 125 pounds. Cyborg is a featherweight. That is a 20-pound gap between their natural weight classes. But Cyborg doesn't care. She has been pushing for this fight publicly, and now the CEO is on record saying he wants it.
Body kick by the challenger, level change, and Cyborg ends up on top. Ground and pound. Hammer fist from the champion. It's over. Chris Cyborg with her 12th first-round knockout finish. Chris Cyborg remains Bellator featherweight champion.
Here is what Martin said word for word. I'd like to try to make that fight happen. I think there's a natural order to get to that fight, though. I'd like to see Chris Cyborg fight this summer. If Dakota wins and becomes champion, I think a fight with Chris Cyborg would be incredibly exciting. We'll see what happens, but I'd like to make that fight.
Yeah, I'd like to see Dakota firmly heal, and then we'll see what happens from there. But I'd like to see Dakota fighting this summer, and we'll see. Maybe we can put together a different fight for Chris Cyborg this summer as well. A vibrant ecosystem when you think about where talent comes from. If you look at the likes of a Dakota or a Paul Hughes, who came out of Cage Warriors, I believe, in Europe, we're always looking for the next new talent. And I think we've now proven with several people that we've broken out as legitimate elite fighters, stars, if you will, that the PFL has that capability to do that. I'd like to continue to ramp up our ability to do that and demonstrate to the world that we can compete with other promotions.
There it is. The CEO of PFL is on record. He wants Dakota versus Cyborg. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. After all of this news broke, Dakota Ditcheva went on Twitter and sent a message that set the MMA world on fire. Her tweet? Simple, direct, Dakota style. At Chris Cyborg, get healthy, get ready. I'll see you in that cage. Hot PFL new era, short, sharp, and it said everything. The fans went crazy in the replies. People are already calling this the biggest women's MMA fight that can be made right now outside of the UFC. And honestly, they're not wrong. Let's zoom out here for a second because this matters beyond just one fight. The PFL in 2026 is in a massive moment. They just ran their first event of the new era. They've got 16 global events planned this year. They've moved away from the tournament format. They've got a full ranking system now. And John Martin, a guy who spent nearly 30 years at Time Warner, who tried twice to get his company to buy the UFC, this man is locked in on making PFL a legitimate #2 promotion in the world. A fight like Dakota Ditcheva versus Chris Cyborg, that is the kind of fight that crosses over. That is the kind of fight that brings in casual fans. That is the kind of fight that gets people talking about PFL who have never watched PFL in their lives. The CEO knows it. The fighters know it. And now, the world knows it. Alright guys, that is the full breakdown. Dakota Ditcheva targeting a summer 2026 return. PFL CEO on record saying he wants Dakota versus Cyborg. And Dakota herself is already sliding into Cyborg's mentions on Twitter. The pieces are moving. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Dakota Ditcheva can handle Chris Cyborg at a catch weight of 135 pounds? Or is the size difference just too much? Drop your take in the comments right now. I am reading every single one. If you found this video useful, hit that like button. Subscribe if you are new here. We cover PFL, UFC, and everything in between. I will catch you in the next one.
Y Marcos Rosales anotó 29, 28, 29, 28. La ganadora por decisión dividida. Your winner by split decision, Alexa.
What? Alexa Grasso.
She's not a fighter who's shown any exploitable weaknesses today.
All right, I'm here with your winner, Alexa Grasso. Alexa, you told me your key tonight was just to be confident, to be you. How happy are you with your performance and what I believe?
UFC Flyweight champion Alexa Grasso has just sent a surprising message to rising star Dakota Ditcheva, and let me tell you, Dakota's response is fire. This potential fantasy matchup has the entire MMA community buzzing, and we're breaking down everything you need to know. Alexa Grasso, the current UFC Flyweight champion and one of the most technical strikers in women's MMA, recently spoke about Dakota Ditcheva in an interview that's now making waves across social media.
Shown any exploitable weaknesses today.
All right, I'm here with your winner, Alexa Grasso. Alexa, you told me your key tonight was just to be confident, to be you. How happy are you with your performance and what I believe was the best fight of the night so far?
And honestly, what she said was not what anyone expected. Listen to what Grasso had to say. Well, I think she has one of the best bodies in MMA, and I really wanted to have one like that. I'm still working on that, but it's amazing, you know, because she's a veteran, and I saw her fights. When I didn't fight in the big time, I was like, wow, those girls are amazing. And now to fight, I'm fighting with her. It's a pleasure, and it's really a blessing for me.
Well, I think she has one of the best bodies in the MMA, and I really wanted to have one like that. I'm still working on that, but it's amazing, you know, because she's a veteran, and I saw her fights, and I was when I didn't fight in a big time, I was like, whoa, those girls are amazing, and now I'm fighting with her. It's a pleasure, and it's really a blessing for me.
Now, wait a minute. Let's break this down. Alexa Grasso, a UFC champion who just beat Valentina Shevchenko, one of the greatest female fighters of all time, is showing this level of respect to Dakota Ditcheva. That's huge. But here's the thing that's got everyone talking. Is this genuine respect, or is there something else going on here? Some fans are saying Grasso is being humble and classy. Others think she might be underestimating herself or even playing mind games. Dakota Ditcheva is an absolute monster in the PFL, don't get me wrong. She's undefeated, she's devastating in the cage, and she comes from an elite Muay Thai background with a record of 11-0 in MMA. But the fact that a UFC champion is speaking about her this way, that tells you everything about how seriously the top fighters are taking Dakota's rise. Now, if you thought Dakota was going to just accept those compliments and stay quiet, you don't know Dakota Ditcheva. The PFL champion fired back with a statement that shows exactly why she's one of the most confident and dangerous fighters in the sport right now. Here's what she said. People see that when I win this season now and beat someone like Liz Carmouche and Talia Santos. As soon as I beat them, I think what else can people expect other than greatness for the rest of the year? And you've got to be like that, you know. It's about time that I actually believe in what I can do. But she didn't stop there. Dakota continued. I think people say to me, oh, she's not fought this person, she's not fought that person. Or they say, she's running through all these girls because they're not very good. But if you put these girls against other people, they have close fights. Whereas when you put them with me, I finish them early. So I make it look easy sometimes.
When I win this season now, and you know, I say I beat someone like Liz Carmouche and Talia Santos, as soon as I've beat them, I think, what else can people expect other than greatness for the rest of the year? Yeah, right. Yeah, and you've got to be like that, you know. And it's about time that I actually believe in what I can do. You know, I think people say to me, you know, oh, she's not fought this person, she's not fought that person. Well, or they say to me, you know, she's running through all these girls because they're not very good. But if you put these girls against other people, they have close fights. Whereas when you put them with me, I finish them early. So I make it look easy sometimes.
That right there is championship mentality. Dakota's basically saying, I don't care what the critics say. I'm finishing elite fighters and I'm doing it fast. And you know what? The numbers back her up. She's 15-0 with 9 finishes. That's an 82% finish rate. This response shows that Dakota isn't intimidated by anyone, not even a UFC champion. She's focused on her own path, and she genuinely believes she's the best in the world. That's the kind of confidence you need to become a legend in this sport. But wait, there's more. Dakota Ditcheva took to Twitter to make sure her message was crystal clear. She posted, "Respect to Alexa, but when we meet, it's going to be different. I'm built for this. Championship level is where I belong." First, experience. Alexa has fought the absolute best. She's faced killers like Valentina Shevchenko twice, Viviana Araujo, and Carla Esparza. She knows what it takes to perform under the brightest lights in the sport. Second, her boxing is absolutely world-class, clean, technical, efficient. She doesn't waste energy, and she rarely gets hit clean. Her footwork allows her to control range and dictate the pace.
From Guadalajara, Mexico. Would 3 wins be a form of knockout? Would you please welcome Alexa Grasso?
Do you have the best move when it comes to, you know...
Third, championship composure. She's been in 5 rounds with Valentina Shevchenko. She's survived adversity and found ways to win. That mental toughness is invaluable. First, her Muay Thai is absolutely devastating. With 11-1 record in Muay Thai, including multiple championships, her clinch work, elbows, and knees are on another level. She's one of the most dangerous fighters in close range in all of MMA. Second, her finishing ability. Dakota doesn't just win fights, she ends them. 9 finishes in 11 fights speaks to her killer instinct. When she smells blood, it's over. Third, her physical attributes. Dakota is tall, rangy, and uses her reach incredibly well. She can fight from the outside with kicks, then close the distance and destroy you in the clinch.
Angela Hill.
From Guadalajara, Mexico. Would 3 wins be a form of knockout? Would you please welcome Alexa Grasso?
Here's what makes this matchup so interesting. Dakota is young, hungry, and fighting like she has nothing to lose. Alexa is battle-tested and proven at the highest level. If this fight happens in the early rounds, Dakota's aggression and finishing power could be too much. But if Alexa can survive the early storm and drag Dakota into deep waters, her experience and technical superiority could take over.
The planet right now, fantastic strikers, veterans. Future legends of the game here.
For sure.
Santos
is in big trouble. She's in big trouble. Dakota Ditcheva to the body again for a championship.
Introducing first,
Out of the blue corner, she stands at 173 centimeters tall, weighing in at 125 pounds, holding a Muay Thai and kickboxing record of 31 wins and 5 losses. Training out of Airtex Training Center, representing Sweden, Smilla.